Hello everyone. Today is part 2 of our Proverbs series. And the next verse I want to look at is Proverbs 1:7. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge." Or as Proverbs 9:10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. What does that mean? How is it that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom? Well, let's first try to understand what is the fear of the Lord. Now, I don't think that, we can provide a comprehensive definition of what it is, but I think in one sense, the fear of the Lord, it can be compared to, let's say, the idea of gravity. So we all, as children, we are born into this world and we do not fear gravity. But as we get older, we begin to fear gravity because we begin to understand gravity and the way gravity works, right? And we begin to respect gravity, right? Because as a child doesn't know that falling off a two-story building will kill it. It has no understanding of that. It has no fear of heights or fear of gravity, and so it doesn't fear it, right? And that's why children need parents who protect and provide for them. But as we become older, we begin to understand, oh wow, this gravity thing, it can be very dangerous. If I step off of a two-story building, I will probably either hurt myself or completely get myself killed. And so as we mature, we begin to understand how exactly gravity works. And it's like fearing gravity is, you could say, is almost like acting in accordance to the rules of gravity, to the way that gravity functions, right? And we respect it. We don't walk on the ledge of a two-story building because we understand if we fall, we will die. And when you're walking, when you learn to walk, right, as a child, you also understand how gravity works. You understand that your balance needs to be at the center, not overweight. And as we understand how gravity works and we begin to act in accordance to gravity, we actually get to experience a very good life with gravity, right? Gravity is great. Gravity keeps everything glued to the earth. If it weren't for gravity, everything would just fly away into space and we would die, right? But gravity is really good. Gravity helps us. But at the same time, we need to understand the limits and the boundaries of gravity and where we can be hurt by gravity. So in a similar way, again, not comprehensively, but in a similar way, maybe that's what it means to fear God, is to understand who He is and the things that He likes and the things that He doesn't like, to understand His nature, His character, and to act in accordance to the reality of God. To understand that, just like in the physical world, standing on the edge of a two-story building is very dangerous, or falling off a two-story building is very dangerous, so it is the same thing with doing something that displeases God, for example. Very dangerous, and it will lead into eternal destruction. So fearing God, understanding the reality of God, and respecting the power of God is the beginning of wisdom. Well, how is that the beginning of wisdom? How is understanding or fearing the reality of who God is, how is that the beginning of wisdom? Well, you could say that in a sense, wisdom is the correct prioritization in your life, right? When someone who is wise, you could say, is defined as someone who has their priorities correctly established in their life, right? Someone who in the way they organize their life, in the way they have their relationships, in the way they carry themselves, you could see that they put the correct priorities on the things in their life, whatever those priorities are, right? Whether it be at work, if they're at work, they have their priorities set up correctly, and they're focusing on the things that matter, the things that are productive, the things that bring value to their customers and bring value to their managers and their bosses and their owners, or maybe priorities in their family, right? And it's making sure that everybody is happy and everybody is happy in God, right? And just so so in a sense, wisdom is having these right priorities. So how is understanding and fearing the reality of God and who He is, how is that the beginning of wisdom? Well, when we understand and comprehend the centrality of God and the importance of the reality of God, when He is at the center of all of it, when we understand who God is, we can begin to establish our priorities in life. It becomes the fear of God, the understanding of the reality of God and who He is and who He revealed Himself to be to us in His Word. That becomes the foundation, right? The beginning, the cornerstone, on top of which we begin to build every single thing else in our life. And if our foundation is not the fear of the Lord, then our foundation will be crooked. And it doesn't matter what else we stack on top of it. If the building is crooked, eventually it will fall over. That's why the fear of the Lord is the beginning, because it is the only straight foundation. Because we need to have God and His centrality as the starting place of all of our priorities. If God is our number one, and the reality of God is number one, then we will be able to correctly prioritize our life. If God is not number one, if we don't actually fear Him, then we are going to get our priorities wrong. Then we will focus too much on work or some kind of hobbies or even family or even ministry or whatever it is, but not God. Things will be slanted in our lives. Friends, let us always come back to and understand and grasp and hold on to the centrality of God in all of life and in all of the universe. And let us fear Him and let us use that reality, the reality of the importance, the supreme importance of God as the foundation of all of our priorities in all spheres of our life all the time. May God bless us to always see Him as the center of all things. Amen.